The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. My name is Leo Connors. I'm your host, along with my co-host, tag team partner, Derek Dukes. And today we got a very special guest. We have the unequal one, Todd Sople.
Hey,
Todd?
Hey, congrats. You got the name right.
I got it right. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, listen, real quick, before we go into interviewing you and stuff, I'd like to just talk real quick about the Cruiserweight Classic series last night.
Definitely.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Last week, me and Derek, we thought it was going to be Ibushi and Sabre Jr. in the finals,
Nope.
and we were completely wrong, as it was T.J. Perkins winning it all over the Grand Metalik, right? Metalik.
Metallic, yeah.
Yes.
What a great match. Seriously.
Great.
Unbelievable show. You know, the tag team match was great, too. Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar versus our boys. Well, Tommaso Ciampa,
Yes.
Massachusetts boy. Well,
Yes.
he lives in Wisconsin now.
Now.
And Johnny Wrestling Gargano.
That's right.
But what a great series altogether. What a tournament, really.
Did you see the time? Did you see the time on that match last night?
Yeah.
Wow.
You called it, though. You said it was going to be a long match.
Well, you had to.
Right.
You go to the finals with anybody in that tournament.
Right.
Anyone, which I think you can back me up. Anyone in that whole tournament.
Oh, absolutely.
Every guy.
Yeah.
You figure that last match, it had to be spectacular. And it did. It went the full distance.
Absolutely. And we were saying TJ's, what, a 17-year veteran. And what is he, like, 31?
Yeah.
Seriously. He started wrestling at, like, 14 years
Yep.
old. But that kid's incredible. Now the Cruiserweights are coming to Raw.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to cover all that next week. But this week, we're going to concentrate on Todd. So let's get right into
Yes.
it. Todd, were you a fan growing up?
Oh, of course. Like, ever since I can remember, like, I've been a fan of pro wrestling. Like, probably from the time I was 5 to now. I mean, there have been ebbs and flows. There have been times that I haven't watched the product as much or not at all. But, I mean, I've always been a fan, basically.
Nice. So that was another question. I was going to ask you how old you were, because I was 7 when I started watching wrestling. I'm old. I was 1972. I first started watching wrestling.
Yeah.
So,
Five is a ballpark. I mean,
Yeah.
As long as I can remember,
Right.
I've been watching wrestling.
Now, were your parents into it? Is that how you got into it?
No,
You just
not
found it
at all.
on your own? Same with me.
I just found it on my own. I probably just flipping the TV one day on like Saturday morning and everything like that, seeing whoever was on TV at the time, like the Warrior or Hogan and everything like that. I was a big Hulkamaniac, like everybody else was growing up. So.
Right.
So you were the what 80s did you start though? Like where in that era did you start? 86, 5?
It was probably like 88, 89.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the real Warrior days.
Yeah, something
Yes.
like that,
Okay.
Like, that's when I probably first started watching it. I didn't really like get super into it until probably like I remember like one of the first pay-per-views I ever watched was like WrestleMania 8 and the Ultimate Warrior coming down saving Hulk Hogan at the end.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I was seeing everything. That was one of my earliest memories of watching it, I guess. I'm not exactly sure how old I was at the time.
Right.
Okay. Well, he's right. I mean, that was the, not quite the beginning of the Attitude Era, but working its way into
Towards
it.
it,
Yeah, because the Attitude Era started, what, 91, 90?
No,
later
way
than that?
later
Oh,
than
no,
that.
Was it later than
Yeah,
that?
way later than
Wow,
that.
so what,
Yeah.
96?
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yes,
around there?
definitely.
96, 97. The Attitude Era was my jam. That's what I grew up like.
Of course.
That's what I grew up like. That's what made me want to become a pro wrestler, basically.
Okay.
Was
The Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Right. When you were a kid, did you play a lot of sports or anything like that when you were younger?
I mean, I would play like soccer. I tried to play Little League one time, and then I got beamed in the head, and that turned me off of it.
Yeah, that would do it.
So yeah. Plus, like I don't know if I would have been necessarily good at it because I can even when I go to the batting cages now, I can't really hit like the balls for whatever reason. But even though my hand-eye is pretty good, but no, I mean like soccer. As a kid, like softball, t-ball, that sort of stuff, but. Nothing like, one of my biggest regrets is like not in high school. I wasn't, didn't do football or anything like that, because I was always a big kid.
Right.
And that was one of my bigger regrets. But I mean, it worked out for the best.
Right.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Derry, New Hampshire.
You grew up in Derry?
Yeah, grew up in Derry, New Hampshire. Yep.
Go to Pinkerton?
Yes.
Okay.
Class of 2003. I lived there till I want to say I was 20. 24, 23 or 24, something like that.
Okay.
And then I moved to Manchester, which is where I currently reside. So
Okay, cool. We're
Vegas.
Massachusetts boys. He's from Lynn. I'm from Lowell.
very nice.
Yeah. So listen, who trained you?
Well, that's interesting because it's sort of a double-edged
Okay.
question. When I first got out of high school, I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler. It was the one moment that cinched it for me, like that, for whatever reason, like this moment, like cinched it to me where I wanted to be a pro wrestler from
Yep.
that point forward. Was I went to a wrestling live event, Raw. It was a taped Raw, and it's actually a very famous Raw because it's the one where that's sort of like turned the tide in the WWE's favor from WCW.
yes.
It was the Raw where Mick Foley first won the WWE Championship.
Whoa.
And it was in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I remember
That's right.
I was sitting, I think it was the very, very top row of the building. It was like my mom, a friend, like my brother and everything who was into it too. And when Stone Cold Steve Austin's glass broke for his entrance there, I think he came back from like a month off of TV or something like that. Like it was literally the loudest sound I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
And comes out, hits the Rock with a chair, blah, blah, blah. Foley gets the pin, blah, blah, blah. And that, like, hooked me. Like, I was
Yep.
like, I need to do this.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
like, all throughout high school, I knew if I went to college after high school, I would not, like, see it through.
Okay.
And since, I've gone to college and got a degree, actually, ironically enough, in radio and television production.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to use it because there's not a lot of jobs, but, again, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
So, right out of high school, I graduated in 2003. I think it was 2004, mid 2004, something like that. I got hooked up with Steve Bradley. He was running a school in Manchester.
Yes.
It was right on Candia Road, and I started training there. I started training there for about 8 months. Learned the basics from guys like Steve, Alex Arion, Brian Fury was there. Guys like that, and at that point, like, I don't necessarily know what happened. I don't know if I lost my passion for it. I don't know if financially it wasn't feasible for me at the time, but I just stopped. I stopped. I got into a band that took me a year and a half to put together and went to crap in 6 months. But that's neither here nor there. That's the music industry. That's what happened.
Right.
So, like, I got trained. I took a long hiatus from wrestling till about, I want to say, tail end of 2005, where I got hooked up with a group in Manchester, a public access group. They were running, like, they weren't necessarily shows because people weren't paying and everything, but it was like a public
Yeah.
They were called WAW.
I got it written. I was
Yeah,
going to
saw
get there.
that.
I was going to
saw
get there.
that, yeah. So WAW was this group. They were all not trained. I was like one of the only ones trained there.
Oh, boy.
And
Barry Ace used to go there. Am I right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a definition
He's an
of.
interesting character. Let's put it
I
that
think
way.
he's the dictionary definition of odd duck. If you're
Yeah, I agree.
But like I've been out of the business. I've only been trained for 8 months. I mean, I knew how to do like everything, but I didn't know like psychology. I didn't know like
Right.
the finer points of everything like that. So I got there and I didn't really think anything. Hey, this is like a fun little thing to do and everything like
Right.
that. And everybody there like was not trained. They were not good. And everything. But they was just I was one of the kids. Just doing whatever. Not caring. Not knowing what was out there. In terms of independent professional
Yep.
wrestling. So that went on for I was there for almost 2 or 3 years and everything. And towards the tail end of there, I met a gentleman by the name of Brian Reese, who ran a promotion called Collision Pro or No Limit Pro Wrestling.
Do you remember the first few shows at Collision Pro? The ring announcer? That was me. I did the
Really?
first 3. I ring announced those first 3 shows, the ones at the YMCA in Lowell.
I don't know if I was on those
Okay,
shows.
yeah, 'cause I did his first
or
3.
I don't know if I was there for those shows,
Right.
but I was sort of the tail end where he was starting to lose his ass on shows, so to speak.
Yeah, I was gone by then.
Because
I was.
he would bring in guys, like Eddie Edwards,
Yeah,
like Bobby
Slick.
Fish and everything
Oh,
like
God.
that.
Yes.
And Slick, yeah, guys
Yeah.
like that, Slick.
Yeah.
And he would, run like Good Times and
Yeah,
everything like
I did
that.
one
but
of those,
but
too.
he didn't really know how to promote, so to speak. And
Right.
and then he brought me on and because he saw my passion and he sort of saw me as a money man because I would be willing to front the money while he
Right.
did the booking. And when he did the booking and the lack of promoting, so I would be the one losing my ass.
Right. Yep.
And,
Yep.
and so we would run like we ran like that ever since we ran. I want to say like 2 years. We run like Good Times. We ran the Woburn Elks, which is where Chaotic runs now. And again, like I think the most we ever had at a show was like 70 or 80 people.
Right.
And like
That was about the average ones at the YMCA too. So,
yeah, no, exactly. And when you're paying some of these guys like 75 or $100, like plus like all the costs of everything like that. I mean, Brian owned his own ring, and getting to that, he was in a financial bind, so he wanted to sell his ring and just be done with it. And I saw an opportunity, and I borrowed the money at the time from my mom and bought a $5,000 wrestling ring for $2,000.
Yep.
So, you know, and I was able to pay her back and then some, getting to the thing. But eventually, how that happened, I own my own wrestling ring, so I wanted to put it to use. So I found a building, or lucked into a building, sort of. A friend of mine, Atlee Green. So he was not running shows at the McCarthy Elementary School anymore.
That's Bricka, right?
No, that's Peabody.
Oh, okay.
Peabody. And I asked him flat out, hey, can I have the building? And he put me in touch with the right people, and I've been running there for, I want to say, we're going into our 8th year now, I think. There.
Nice.
Yeah,
good, man.
We only run from October through May.
Okay.
But we run at least once a month then. I don't run the summertime because nobody comes in the summertime.
Right.
There's a lot of people things to do in the summertime. You know, those are always down periods for anywhere that I work.
Right.
And, you know, it's tough. So, I mean, I would just rather not lose money.
Yep.
So that's how that came about. And, you know, I run and promote Liberty States Wrestling out of Peabody, Mass. Look us up on Facebook, Liberty States Wrestling. On YouTube, No Limit Pro Wrestling is where it's called. So you can find a bunch of matches there.
Nice. Well, I got to tell you real quick, as you brought up Bobby Fish, I ring announced for three of Brian's shows, right? And Bobby Fish had a different name each one. Jerk Jackson, Madden Fisher, and then Bobby Fish.
I remember those names.
I just think it's hilarious that I only ring announced for 3 shows. He was on all 3. He had a different name for everyone.
Different gimmick every time.
But look at him now.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. A great wrestler. Huge over in Japan. Yeah. Ring of Honor television champion right now. Matter of fact, I'm going to see Ring of Honor the next pay-per-view in Lowell.
I was actually at the Ring of Honor tryout camp where he got signed or noticed.
No kidding.
I remember that. I went to like 5 Ring of Honor training camps and everything. But getting back to the training question.
Yeah.
Because like after that, you know, sort of like the WWE thing went to crap and everything, Bob Evans went to one of my shows.
Yep.
And, you know, I started training with him. I would drive 2 hours to Rhode Island every week. And, you know, like, me and Bob have had a little bit of a falling out since then. But, like I said, you know, he had, like, for all his quirks and everything like that, as much of full of crap that I think he is now.
Yes.
The one strong thing he did, he taught me psychology, he taught me all that sort of stuff and everything, along with some other people, you know, guys like, you know, Maverick Wild, Dan Freitas, you know, guys like that who I would wrestle. But most of my experience, you know, that was the bare bones of it. But most of my experience came from getting in the ring with better guys. Guys like, you know, Brian Fury. Guys like, you know, I've had the privilege of wrestling Stevie Richards.
Wow.
I've had the privilege of wrestling the FBI from the WWE and ECW and everything. I've had the privilege of wrestling Rhino on Ring of Honor television, although that wasn't really that much of a match. It was a squash, but it was still a lot of fun.
But you know what? You still got a chance to do it.
Yeah, it was cool. And I'm very lucky and very blessed for the situations that I've been in. And so, yeah, that's how I came. I've been very lucky to be able to wrestle a lot of quality opponents, and hopefully more in the future. So.
Amen.
Nice.
Amen.
It's funny, like you said, Bobby Fish was at one of the tryouts.
Yep.
When I used to cater for the Ring of Honor show back in 2002 to 2004, the MASH shows, when Rob owned the company.
Yep.
And Bobby worked as a jobber back then. It's just so funny. And just like Jay Lethal was with Special K, and he worked his way all the way up to, you know, heavyweight champion.
Believe it.
And look at, like I said, look at Bobby Fish. It's just amazing. You know, you stick with it and you work hard, great things come. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so let's get to a few other things. I want to talk about, now, this is an APW.
Atlantic Pro Wrestling, yeah.
You have a thing, you're in a group called the Three Kings.
The Three Kings,
With now Brian Malonis.
Brian Malonis, the Kingpin.
And Demon Ortiz.
Demon Luis Ortiz.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about that.
So
this
is fairly new. This is, I want to say this happened at the end of May.
Okay.
And I've been with Atlantic Pro Wrestling since the beginning. It was originally called Wrestling Star Wars. I was the first Wrestling Star Wars champion. I held that title for 13 months, and Luis Ortiz took it from me. So we've always been like the two like guys that have always been there, the stalwarts, so to speak, of Atlantic Pro Wrestling. And that was, I think they've been there for about 5 years now, running the same building, the Newbury Fire Hall in Newbury, Mass. And their production is fantastic.
Right.
Derek Mitchell runs the whole production side of it and everything. He has a television background. That's his job.
Right.
So he, borrows cameras, knows how to professionally edit a show. If you look them up on YouTube, Atlantic Pro Wrestling, you'll see the quality of the show is fantastic.
Oh, and indubitably, definitely.
Yeah, and like the fans, like the atmosphere, like I can't even explain it. It's insane. Like the fans, like buy into it, they're so into it, and that's so refreshing to see.
Yeah.
And it's always a packed house. Always a packed
Always
house.
packed
Yes.
house. Yes, they do fantastically well, and I'm amazingly humbled to be part of it.
That's awesome.
But this whole thing happened where it was like a tag team match. Like Luis Ortiz Demon Ortiz had always been a babyface there,
Right.
Because for one, he's fantastic, and he works a very high flying style,
Yes.
so the crowd would always cheer him.
Oh, yeah.
So he turned in a tag team match. It was him and John Poe against myself and Brian Malonis, and he turned and started beating the crap out of Poe, and we just made this group together along with Big Woody, who was our power broker, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
So now we're running roughshod over APW,
Right.
sort of like the cliche term is sort of like an NWO type thing,
Yep,
also,
yep.
Right.
everything like that. But it's been a lot of fun, and like people like genuinely hate us. It's really like half of the crowd hates us,
Right.
and half of the crowd is starting to get on the bandwagon, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
But-
that's awesome.
Well, either way.
and Lewis has always been like one of my favorite people to wrestle ever. I've wrestled him, I want to say 10 or 15 times in APW, and it's always been great. And I've tagged with him too, and he's one of my favorite people to tag with too. And Brian, I've wrestled him a couple times too. Brian's fantastic,
Unbelievable.
great
Great
dude.
big man.
Great dude, great. He's always been super cool to me and everything like that. So I mean, it's cool to be in a group with those two people.
Right.
Both
Those guys are great workers. I mean, I've watched Luis Ortiz wrestle for so long.
Yep.
Back since when he was in the 2K club.
NWA.
Slick.
NWA New England.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Jason Rumble.
Yep.
I mean, and it's so funny when he first started doing the Demon Ortiz thing. I saw him at an MWF show. Remember when he came out with the
Yes.
that mask thing?
Yep.
Does he still wear that? Come out with a mask? I know he
Yeah,
paints his
he comes
face.
out with the mask, yeah.
My grandson was probably 5 years old, right? I swear to God, he was already scared of Dylan Cage because he puts
'Cause
those
the eyes,
contacts
yeah.
in, right? I had Jazier way down the floor. I seen him coming. I took him right up the stairs. I knew. I mean, if he was scared of Dylan Cage, I knew what he was going to shit himself.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Honestly. But those two guys, like you said, two great workers. That must be awesome to be able to work with them.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not very
absolutely.
familiar with Big Woody, but I do. I see like his promos. I've seen a couple of videos.
Yeah.
And he's unbelievable on
Yeah,
the mic.
Big Woody's awesome.
He's unbelievable. Now you seem to be having a little bit of a little tiff with Evan Six.
Evan Six.
What's up with that?
Well, he's like, we actually wrestled on the last APW show and
Okay.
everything. I beat him to retain my New England championship.
Nice.
Um,
Sorry, Evan.
Are you now the reigning
APW
New England champion? Okay.
Now, who'd you win the title from, real quick? I'm
I
sorry.
won the title from adorable Danny Miles.
Okay. Yeah.
At Yankee Homecoming at the end of July.
Nice.
And so I'm having like this little there's like two distinct sides on like this war, so to speak. There's the Three Kings.
Yeah.
And there's guys like Kyle Storm, Evan Six, John Poe.
Yep.
Yep.
It's like basically all the baby faces versus us.
Right.
So which is a cool dynamic, and it's gonna be really cool in the future. So.
Very nice. Gonna see you guys going at it on Facebook.
It'll be explosive,
You
that's
know?
for sure.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
where I really seen Woody do a lot of his talking, just like on Facebook about this.
Well, that's the
because
cool.
the little videos you got, I love that stuff.
Well, that's the cool part about it. Like, it's like the production value is awesome, but they also, have a lot of freedom and let you, promos are one of my strong suits.
Right.
Like I've been told, by people higher up in Ring of Honor that you have main event level promo ability.
Right.
And
agree.
that's a high praise and high compliment.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So, I mean, I love cutting promos. I love, building to what they have there and helping them grow to what they are now.
Yep.
So.
I think you'd be great in Beyond Wrestling. I'm a big fan of Beyond Wrestling. I'm
I'd
serious.
love
I
to
think
be.
I think you'd step right in. I really do. They got some of the best talent out there,
Yeah.
all over, up and down the East Coast.
Absolutely.
They're actually starting to bring in guys from Texas, like
Yeah.
Keith Lee and stuff.
Yeah.
But definitely. All right, so that's cool about the Three Kings. What other companies? You said you worked for Ring of Honor, Chikara.
Yep.
You told us that off air. Sorry, guys. And what other companies have you worked for?
I've worked for, let me see, obviously Atlantic Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
Obviously, Liberty States Wrestling.
Yeah.
I also wrestle on the shows in
Right.
terms of promoting and running them. I wrestle for Lucky Pro Wrestling.
Yes, I've seen you there.
I've been on pretty much every single Lucky Pro show, with the exception of maybe like 2 or 3 in the span of like 3 or 4 years that they've had there. I've had the opportunity to wrestle, as I said before, awesome people there. Stevie Richards. I wrestled Nikolai Volkov.
That was the
at
last
like
one, not too long ago.
No, that was probably like a couple months ago.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
2 or 3 months ago. I wrestled Nikolai Volkov in a 6-man tag. I wrestled Brian Myers, Kurt Hawkins, who's on SmackDown now,
Yep.
or going to be on SmackDown.
Yep.
So I've had the privilege of wrestling a lot of cool people there. I've wrestled for New England Championship. Yeah, New England Championship Wrestling a couple times way back.
Sheldon.
I've wrestled for Eastern Pro Wrestling back when Bob,
Yep.
was running and
Yep.
everything like that. I've wrestled for Fusion Wrestling down in Virginia. Those are pretty much like the main ones that I
Right,
would
right.
say. Yeah, the mainstays.
Nice,
yeah.
nice. And like you said, you worked the Ring of Honor thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
really
it
is,
was
you know?
very cool. That was a very cool experience. We had like I was in a dark tag team match. I only thought it was gonna be a dark match. I actually had the privilege of wrestling Delirious, the booker,
Oh, wow.
who on one of my Liberty State shows, he came and did a seminar and everything like that.
Wow.
And I did good enough to where he booked me for a dark match, what I was told. I got to the building and I see, I'm on the dark match and everything, and I'm also on a TV match with Rhino, and I was like, the little mark in me was like, holy crap.
Right, cool.
Yep, exactly.
And I specifically remember Jim Cornette saying, he was producing my match, I guess, and Jim Cornette saying to me, he's like, if you do one thing, take a good gore, brother. I'm like, okay, cool. And I popped the locker room with the gore that I took, which was
Nice.
fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
it was a real cool experience. It was in Baltimore, and it was fantastic.
Nice. Derek, you got any questions you want to ask before I keep going?
I wanna
You know
give-
me, I'll just keep going.
I want to give him the usual
Go ahead,
straight up
give it
question.
up. Give it.
And because of your age, this is why I'm going to give you this question. I want to see how you feel. And plus, I've worked in the business, so I want to see how you answer this question. Professional wrestling or sports entertainment?
Professional wrestling. Like, I
That was
think
easy. That was quick.
I think it,
Like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the WWE is obviously pushing their product more for sports entertainment.
Correct.
They don't even have their wrestlers say pro wrestling.
No.
Right.
And I think them trying to push that down people's throats
Right.
is kind of a misstep on them, misfire on them, because people always know what is pro wrestling. It's what it is.
Correct. Yes.
From the end of time, you don't see, like I've seen like on podcasts before, I forget if it was Jericho's podcast or Austin's podcast, you don't see people listen. It was probably Austin's because he preaches this all the
Oh,
time.
yes.
He's like, you don't see people, saying, oh, I want to go see the next sports entertainment show, or
That's
I'm going to see
right.
sports entertainment.
Right.
You see, I'm going to see pro wrestling.
That's
And
right.
That's what it is, and they should embrace that, because there's people that want to watch that,
Absolutely.
and there's an ardent fan base that want to watch that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. What you and I went to school for, we went to be professional wrestlers to entertain. That no matter what, that's the way,
It's obviously entertainment, but
Right.
like it's professional wrestling.
No matter
And
what,
it will
right?
Always be, yes.
See,
Absolutely.
I like it, bro. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good answer. Good answer. And quick.
Yes, very quick.
See,
They
went
didn't
right
waste
to it.
any time.
Nope.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to ask?
No,
You
let's
sure?
keep ripping, bro.
All right, listen, I always like to ask questions like, any ribs? Any good ribs or anything? Seriously? I know
Come on, look who he's.
gotta be something.
Look who he's around. Of course, he must have some good ribs.
I don't know if this was a rib that I pulled. Well, I do like mini ribs, I guess
Yep.
I call it.
All right.
At every Liberty State show, when I write out the card, I write out like sort of like gimmick names, or like names to like sort of like give the wrestlers like a little bit of crap and everything.
Yep.
Like for instance, like if I had Brian Fury on my show, like I would write in his name, I would write the WWE gimmick name that he worked Ryback under, Mike Testa.
Oh, yeah.
So I would write like Mike Testa versus like if he was wrestling Christian Casanova, it would be like Mike Testa versus Michael Jackson.
Right,
You know,
right.
something like that.
Right,
You know,
right.
stuff like. But I do remember this wasn't a rib that I did. This was a rib. This was a rib at one of my shows. It was Julian Starr, and he went up to Robbie Ellis. And he was like, Robbie, can you put some baby oil on my back?
Oh no.
And of course,
I think Robbie would have liked that.
and of course, Robbie, with bells on, said
Oh, yeah.
yes. And Julian was just standing there being oiled down by Robbie Ellis, just like,
Oh my
like,
God.
looking, give the biggest like fu look to the entire
That
locker room.
is a Kodak moment
Yeah.
right there.
It was hilarious. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh
It was
man.
hilarious.
Of all people to ask to shoot, Shoot, all people to ask. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But nothing. I don't think I've ribbed anybody really that bad.
Because I remember I was talking to Jeff Costa one time, and he was like, Robbie would always ask Jeff to work the youngest wrestler.
Yep,
Oh,
of course.
of
And there was a reason for that.
Of course. Better
Yeah.
believe it.
Of course, yeah.
You ever worked for Jeff back in the day?
Yes, I have. I work for
I
him.
thought I saw you at one of his shows
Actually,
before.
when I first started training with Bob, he booked me as a referee,
Okay.
and I reffed the whole show. It was like a 6-match show in Plymouth, New Hampshire. I was bigger than every single one of the wrestlers.
Right,
I'm,
right.
I'm 6'2" and I weigh 240 pounds. So I'm bigger than every single one of the wrestlers. And I remember that was a cool experience because I got to see. I specifically remember the main event of the show was Maverick Wild and Sathorian
Yeah.
in like
Got
a
it written down.
2 out of 3 falls match or something like that.
Right.
It was just like a cool experience. And then in the future, I got booked for shows there to wrestle, actually,
Right,
which was
right.
cool. So.
Yeah, I used to sell merchandise at all the Jeff shows up here in Nashville, which was great for me because, when I used to do all the catering back in the day for Ring of Honor, it was all basically on trade. Rob didn't have he probably did have the cash, don't get me wrong, but I would do trade. I'd bring like $400 worth of food. He'd give me $600 worth of merchandise. Then I'd turn around, give Jeff $20, $40, and sell it. You know what I mean? So it was awesome.
Jeff's an interesting dude. Man.
Yes,
one of
he
the
is.
one of
Yes.
the more interesting people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fantastic.
That's a good word for
That's a
Jeff.
good word.
Fantastic. I remember working shows for Jeff he actually ran a show in Manchester. There was like 6 people paid.
Right, right.
I
Yep.
wrestled Malonis, and it was just insane. And like some of the stuff he would say is just. But I remember he got ticked at me one time because I put Johnny
That's
Idol.
a surprise that he got mad. He
Oh,
gets
yeah,
mad
no,
at
he's
everybody.
very even keel.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Sorry.
I remember
Jeff.
one time he got ticked at me because he was pushing Johnny Idol on his shows where he drew 6 people.
Right.
And I put Johnny Idol under on one of my shows, and he was like, "Brother, like, what are we supposed to do here?" I'm trying to protect this guy.
Right,
I'm
right.
like, Jeff, what the hell do you want me to say? Like,
You got 6 people.
yeah, it's like, do we have TV that I not know about? Like, what the like?
Right.
It was just like one of the more. He was nice. He could be a nice guy at times, but man, he had some interesting viewpoints.
Oh, he definitely
I'll
did.
tell you, do you ever remember when he put on that show with the 3D? He did a show with 3D, sold 3D
3D
glasses.
wrestling. I remember
Now,
hearing the stories about it,
His match
yeah.
was the first one, and he'd come out. The guys would have the 3D glass on. He'd come right out your face, just like I'm in your living room.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, only Jeff could do something
I
like
would love
that.
I would love all the gimmick. We used to go.
Oh,
We used to
yeah.
go to like the old AWA shows. Like
Right.
It was actually me. I grew up with Matt Taven.
Yep.
Who was in Ring of Honor now.
Yes.
Great
and
guy.
just coming. Yeah, great dude.
Yeah,
One of my favorite
definitely.
people to
Great
wrestle
worker,
ever.
too.
One of
Definitely.
my favorite people to wrestle ever. I've wrestled him like
Absolutely.
1,500 times. However
Right,
many
right.
times there is. And I remember we used to go to the shows. We would see guys like Tarzan Taylor, who told
Yep.
us not to break our effing necks. That was actually a story he told on
Nice.
Brian Malos's podcast.
Oh my
We
God.
would see like Johnny. This is when we were like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
We'd see like Johnny Vegas there. We would
Yep.
see like I don't know if we saw Mav there, but we'd see like Lobster Man there
Yep.
and everything like that. And,
Rip.
Rip,
Ripper, yep.
You would always see
Love
like
Rip.
you would always see guys like Scott Hollis, Kevin Nashua,
Yeah, I was just gonna say Kevin Nash. Yeah.
Sting Ray,
Stingray. Yeah.
Bart
I never liked
Hart,
that kid, so.
Bart Hart,
Yep.
Homozuna.
Yes.
Homozuna
Yes,
I think is my
Homozuna.
favorite.
The gay Yoko's.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jeff, like you said, though, interesting. I really liked his shows,
Yeah.
Then again, I was making money out of shows.
Yep.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But Jeff's always treated me great. He always has. You know what I mean? Rip, too. Love those guys.
Yeah.
But how about any road stories? You must have some good road stories.
I mean, I've been on some long
Yeah.
drives and everything like that, but like road stories. I remember. Oh, I do remember this one story. I drove down to a Ring of Honor seminar with Buddy Romano, Anthony Green, and I think there was one other person in the car and everything like that. And we stayed at a hotel and everything like that. And at the Ring of Honor seminar, I got dropped on my head by this idiot who was going too fast and, I don't know if he was nervous or he just didn't know how to work, probably a little bit of both. And he dropped me on my head with like a belly-to-belly suplex. So in the middle of the night, like I go to the hospital, and nobody else knew. Because I was paranoid at the time and everything because I was on muscle relaxers. Weird story. But so I go in the middle of the night and then I just get back into the room and, I don't even think they know about it to this day.
Wow.
And
they do now.
And another time,
Yeah.
me and Dan Tanaka, the referee.
I love Dan.
Yeah, Dan's awesome.
He is a great
Dan
guy.
still does all my posters, even though he lives in Michigan. We were rear-ended in a Ring of Honor seminar, like on the way to the second day, because they're 2-day seminars.
Yep.
And we were rear-ended at 50 miles per hour. Somehow it was my fault.
And you were rear-ended.
And we were
Yeah.
rear-ended. I've never heard of that before or
Yeah,
since.
me either.
And so we had to go to the hospital then. Like, I've had some interesting times at, like, Ring of Honor seminars and everything like that with people and everything. But those are, like, the only, like, real, like, roads besides, like, besides driving home one time. I think it was me, Bob, and Westgate, and one other person at Ring of Honor. We were driving home. And Westgate had just worked like a quick little TV squash with Tommaso, and Tommaso kneed him right in the face. And Westgate was asleep the whole ride back and everything. We thought he was dead.
Oh,
Yeah.
kind
He
of
was
do
just-
the old. Oh, he's breathing. Okay.
He was just really concussed.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, those are like, there's not really that many road stories.
Right.
But, yeah, there
No,
are
it's still
certainly
pretty good,
there are
though.
certainly wilder ones I've
Right.
heard.
So you said you worked FBI. Which FBI did you work?
Guido, and what was the other one? Nunzio.
No, that's the same guy.
No, that's the same guy. That's
yeah.
right. Guido and Big Vito.
Big Vito.
Yeah, Big Vito.
Big Vito.
Who's an idiot, but
Yeah.
they gave it like Guido, really cool and everything like that.
Yeah,
Not-
Nunzio's good people.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Vito gave us nothing, like and me and Anthony Green at the time, we were like, we didn't know, we didn't really speak up. Now if he tried to do that to me, like, I'd be like, no, like this, we're getting some shit in. Like,
Right. Yep.
Basically, we're treated like jobbers and everything like that on the Lucky Pro show. But whatever, it is what it is,
Yeah.
Now it's one of those learning experiences.
Yep.
Yep.
Better believe it. But yeah, Nunzio was probably awesome. He's good.
Oh, he's great.
He's unbelievable.
Cool dude.
He'll stop. He listens to you. I
Yeah.
mean, and he'll let you call it. He'll let you call it.
Yeah.
He definitely. I mean, I worked with him quite a few times when I worked in ECW, even just warming up or just curtain jerk or whatever. And I love the way he works.
Yeah.
I
Good
love the
dude.
way he
Yeah,
works.
very good
Vito,
dude.
on the other hand, I'm on your side on that. I'm on your.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, not at all. And that's just it's just the type of wrestler he always was. And
Yeah.
he didn't last in the was it WWF? Was it still F at the time?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's still in the WWF, right? He didn't last in the WWF because he pretty much just got how you just felt.
Yeah.
You know?
Jerk off.
Right. And you're in the you're in
Yep.
you're in the wrong locker room.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong locker room to be treating people that way.
Yeah.
And no matter where you came
You
from.
gotta treat everybody with respect.
Correct,
regardless of
Well,
who you are.
he's one of the guys leading that
lawsuit.
That
Yes.
lawsuit. That he wants to sue the WWE, but he left there, right? And he worked for another 12 different places, but only the WWE is going to sue. It couldn't
Correct.
be anybody else that he worked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
he got hurt in WWE only.
Yeah, only as he kept on working for the next 10
Right.
years.
So he didn't work. He didn't work for WCW at all. He didn't work in ECW at all.
Right.
He did not work in ECW at all.
Yeah.
And I do mean work, by the way. He didn't work for them at all. So it was just Vince's organization.
Vince. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That he got hurt in. Correct.
Well, listen, I think we got a good amount of time left, and I got a lot of names here.
Cool.
So let's play
Here we go.
the name
Let's
game.
do it. Yes, please.
And I'm just going to go right down the list as I was writing them, too. I started over here, and I ended up, you know what I mean? I'm all over the place. But seeing you talking about Lucky Pro Wrestling,
Yep.
Vern Vicala.
He's come a long way, man. Like, he's got he's one of those kids that trained at Brian Fury's school, and like I use a bunch of those kids on my show because for one, they're well trained.
Right.
For two, they're very respectful. They know how to act. They're very professional, and three, they're all good. They're pretty much like every single one of them is good.
What's Brian's school called? New England?
New England Pro Wrestling Academy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Academy. That's what to make sure.
Yeah, he churns them out, left and right out of there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, he's definitely come along. I think it's part of it was with him was finding his gimmick, the
Right.
whole selfie-made man thing and everything like
yeah.
that. And now it's like there's like 3 or 4 people doing selfie gimmicks on the indies and everything
Yes.
like
Yep.
that. He does a great job. of
But
it,
he
though.
kills
He
it.
does. He
He
does
kills
kill
it.
He does it well. And
Yes.
Working
that's-
hard, too.
That's the
Yep.
thing. Yeah.
I got to say, he really is one of the hardest working guys out there.
Yeah.
You see him all over the place.
And like I said, he's killing the gimmick. He's
Yeah.
doing it correctly. He
Yes.
definitely is.
Definitely. How about Jason Blade, who I haven't seen in a long time?
Jason Blade, like I recently just started talking to for a couple of years. I've only known him for a couple of years now, and like he's worked a bunch of my Liberty State shows and everything. I've worked him. Great dude, like
Great worker.
great worker,
Really.
great dude. Like I see him all the time at the Lucky Pro shows and everything like that.
we were actually in a cage match together at one of the Lucky Pro shows a couple years ago. And just like I'm not really like super tight with him, but he's always been professional and really cool with me. So, and obviously great workers.
Right,
I
exactly.
used to love his tag team with Makazi.
Right.
They
yes.
were awesome.
That's
They
right.
really were. They were a great team. How about Scotty Slade? You have any interactions with Scotty?
A couple interactions. He's worked a bunch of my shows.
Yeah.
He's a very he's very opinionated.
Oh my God, is he ever?
Which is
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with it. I
Nope.
think,
Right.
I
Nope.
think sometimes whether or not he means it or not, like he can tend to be condescending sometimes. I don't know if he means that. I don't know if it's unintentional in him and everything
Right.
like that. But he's always been cool to me and everything, like very professional as it is, and
He
good
went
good worker.
I
I've
was going to
wrestled
say,
him
for
before.
a smaller guy,
Well, he also
the
went
kid
from
can
ref to
work,
worker.
man.
Yeah.
He went from
but
referee to worker.
Yeah, he can work, man. For a small, I mean, you got to admit, he's small, but he can definitely work. I actually saw him on a Lucky Pro show. It was the one you weren't on it, and then you came back on the next one that I went to.
Yeah.
And you had said that, you knew everybody missed you, and I was in the audience yelling, "No, we didn't! No, we didn't!" Because you gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta-
Probably the consensus of most people there.
no, but that's what you do. I was telling Derek. Derek knows I love going to shows. You know what I mean? Especially when I know the promoters. I'm always going to be vocal.
Yeah.
You know, cheer the good guys, boo the heels,
Yep.
get the
Good.
crowd
That's a good
going.
thing.
That's
Of
how you
course.
got to be. You know what I
That's a good
mean? That's
thing.
how I feel.
It doesn't matter if you're a baby face or you're a heel. It's whatever role you play.
Yeah.
And which trust me, in ECW, because we only work 3 days a week for a reason, brother, because you play a lot of fan plant.
Mhm.
You're not always in every arena, so you
Right.
play fan plant when you're concussed or whatever you do, and you get them going. I mean,
right.
Big
Yeah, exactly.
Big Sal is actually a good friend of mine, and when he used to come out with FBI, I'd sit in the front row and I'd be by myself, saying something, and he'd get up in my face. And of course, Sal, 7-something, 600 pounds, and everyone around me just go. And I was like, yeah, FBI sucks, and you suck, and your mother sucks, and going crazy. And of course, you get the crowd, and he'd walk away, and you get the crowd rolling, and that's what you got to do, whether it's baby or whether you're a heel,
Right.
no matter which way you. So
exactly.
even though you're sitting right here right now, no matter what, is that if you're a heel, and I'm going to go to a show, okay, great. So we get the crowd going
Right.
against you.
I think a lot of people, like, it's a lost art these days, like especially with like that sort of indie style that's been prevalent. A lot of people have forgotten how to be heels. Like,
Yes,
and-
yes, yep.
And you have to, like, I have very strong opinions about that. Like, look, there's nothing wrong with like the whole flippy style and everything like
Yep.
that. And like, I think there should be a little bit more selling with that. I don't think
I
people,
agree.
I don't
I
think
agree.
people should be kicking out of like 2 or 3 finishes
No,
or
me
something
either.
like that.
No,
I don't
I
think.
agree.
I don't think people should be getting kicked in the face and then kicked out of it and everything like that. 'cause
Right.
But I mean, I think people have just forgotten how to be heels. I think they want to chase the "this is awesome" chant and everything like that. And I try to pride myself on never forgetting to be a heel.
Yep.
Like
Right.
no matter where I am, and I can say this with 100% certainty and confidence that I'm one of the better heels out there because I can get heat anywhere I go.
Right.
Right. That's awesome. Awesome. Big Woody.
Big Woody is our power broker at Atlantic Pro Wrestling. He is the booker of Atlantic Pro Wrestling. I think that's fairly well known. But he is one of my best friends. I have lunch with him almost every single week.
Nice.
He's one of the few people that believed in me from the start. Like he built he put his strap on me first to build his company
Right,
and had the
right.
confidence in me to do it. And 5 or 6 years later and everything like that, I'm not tuning my own horn here again,
No,
but
that's all right.
but like you said, toot.
That's right.
Like because guys like me and Luis Ortiz helped build that company to what
Right,
it is today.
right.
And he said that to me, and every single time, like, it makes me feel awesome because that thing is, he's just one of the coolest dudes you'll ever want to meet. Like, he has very like-minded to me,
Right.
He's always there to hear me vent about certain things, like the whole thing I had with Bob and everything like that.
yep.
And I will always be there for him because he's a cool dude, great friend.
You ought to toot your own horn because I've watched you work and I think you're awesome. And you ate a lot of shit when you worked for the WAW.
Oh,
You
yes, I did.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you stuck with it, and look at you now. So, I mean, honestly, really,
Exactly,
toot,
man, yeah.
toot, man, all the way. You talked about them earlier, but why don't you just give us a little bit on your Three Kings partners, Ortiz and Malonis, real quick? I know we already touched a lot.
like I said
No.
before, like Lewis is like he's been around forever.
Yes.
Like, and he is just I think he's like 40 or something like that. But
Yeah.
he's in like the best shape of his life now. Like I've
like had countless matches with him. We've never seriously had a bad match. Never.
Nice.
Like it's just one of those guys that you have instant chemistry with. I've wrestled him for 30 minutes. I've wrestled him, for 10 minutes. Every single time, it's been great. I actually just recently got out of a tag team with him, and every single time it was awesome. Like no matter who we were working with, and it was just one of those guys you always have natural chemistry with.
Right.
Like his gimmick is cool. Like
Yeah, it
everybody
is.
like responds to it.
Yep.
Like he has the whole like look, like the whole like glowing eyes.
Yep,
ass
yeah,
and-
yeah.
It's
Scary
really,
looking. Even
it's
I
cool.
think he's scary
It's
looking.
really, really cool. Plus, he's like a cool dude. Like,
Yeah.
like
Quite a veteran, too.
APW has a wrestling school in
Okay.
in Salisbury, and they did like a fantasy camp the other day, and me and Lewis were there, and we just like were rolling around for like 5 minutes, and we had like a lot of fun because like it was just like just that's what it's one of those people that. And Brian, like I said before, Brian, he knew me like when I was just coming out of the whole WAW thing and everything like that, and I've heard him say to other people, Todd got a bad rap because of the whole WAW thing and everything. And he's always been cool to me.
Right.
He's worked my shows before. He's done a fantastic job. As I said before, a great worker for a big man.
Yeah.
And just a real cool dude, like very level-headed. I listen to his podcast all the time. I'm sure you guys do.
oh, yeah.
And it's very entertaining.
Absolutely.
Did you ever work for Jerkoff Murati at all?
No.
Ever work for MWF?
No.
He's not a big fan of Dan. Neither am I.
I couldn't tell with the jerk off.
I used to go to the shows and sell my merchandise there,
Right.
but I got in through the commissioner, Brad.
Right.
It's another
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
What's up, Brad? That guy used to call me every day and like talk shit about everyone. To
Yep.
the point where I stopped answering the call.
Yep.
You know what I mean, you'd see it was him. I'm like, I can't do this, and I couldn't get off the phone. It would be nonstop about this guy and that
Yep.
guy. I'm like, Jesus Christ, can I just get off the phone from this guy?
But
I know.
but the cool thing about like Malonis and Ortiz, like the dynamic we have, like I'm sort of like the chicken heel,
Yep,
so to
yep.
speak.
Yes. Yep.
And-
He knows I love
Yep.
that.
Lu-
I
yep,
love chicken shit heels.
It's great.
I
Like,
do.
But Lewis is like the crazy dude, and
Yep.
he
Right,
really
right.
embraced the crazy heel part of
Yep.
it. And Malonis is just a big tough. He's the
Yep.
he's
The
the
ass
heavyweight-
kicker.
He's the heavyweight champion of APW, and he's
Right.
just the big imposing dude.
Yep,
It's a
yep.
great dynamic, and like it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's
That's
cool,
awesome.
man.
I
That's
think
good.
Brian's one of the best big men around in a long time, especially in New England. He really is.
Absolutely.
And he can work anyway.
That's
He's
what I'm
actually
saying.
with Beyond now.
Yeah, he does some
Yeah. He just put a beating on JT Dunn.
Well, I just think it's the size of this guy, and he can work.
Oh, unbelievable.
Unbelievable worker,
yeah,
and
he's
I'll
incredible.
toot his one because
Yeah.
I
Love
don't
him.
know him like personally, like but I've worked with him a few times. Not with him as in the ring, but I
The
worked
same show.
on the same show a few
Yeah, yeah.
times, and just a class act guy, man.
I mean,
Legitimately,
I'm not in the business, and he's always been super nice to me too.
class
Really,
act guy.
Always.
Class
Yeah,
act.
absolutely.
I never, ever, ever heard him shoot on anyone either. Like never,
Right.
never, ever heard him say bad about anything. I mean, yeah, he might have a complaint about something or whatever's going on. But I
Right.
never heard him shit on anyone ever.
Nice.
Not saying you probably haven't, but hey, what are you
You
gonna
know what
do?
I mean? Hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with shitting on people that
Nope.
deserve it. You know what I
Amen.
mean? Honestly, that
Amen.
deserve it. How about the guy that introduced me to you, Sonny Goodspeed?
Oh, Sonny.
Love Sonny.
Sonny is awesome.
Yes,
like
he is.
one of the cooler dudes I've ever met
Yep.
in my life.
Absolutely.
Like
Yep.
he just does not give a crap. He will talk
Nope.
crap about anybody,
Oh,
which is fantastic.
That's why you watch the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Like, but he I remember like when we were working Maverick Wild shows. Like I would. This was like when I was sort of like new training to Bob and everything. I would work Mav shows in Rochester, and he would put me with Sonny all the time.
Right.
And it was just like, he was one of the guys I learned so much from, like, because he would like literally do nothing and get the crowd to,
Right.
get the crowd to like, and he will tell you he did
Oh
nothing.
yeah, no, he told us.
But when he,
He
would,
told us.
when he would work my shows, like he was my I think he was my secondary champion at the time, and he would like dance with the kids and everything.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Yep.
For like half of the match, half to 3/4 of the match.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
a little bit of wrestling here
Yeah.
and there,
Yep.
not even that much.
Yep.
You know, and it was still entertaining as all hell.
Of course it
and,
is.
you know,
He is an entertaining
yeah.
guy.
He is.
And he's just an awesome dude.
Great
Like,
guy.
I
Great-
can't say
great-
good
great
enough good
person.
things about him.
I was very disappointed I didn't ask Sonny about this guy. I don't know if you've ever crossed paths with him, but if not, I got a great story about this kid. You ever meet Chad McCarthy? He played Backstreet Chad for Jeff.
No.
All right, well, let me tell you a real quick story. I work with him. Well, I used to work with him right up the street at the South School. He came over to help me. I work at Mount Pleasant in elementary school. I needed some help over at one of the vacations. He comes in and he has I guess he had a big fight with his wife. He comes in and he's sitting like this. You'd think he was like a 4-year-old kid, all depressed, I said, what's the matter? He goes, oh, I had a fight with my wife, you know. I said, well, you know, we'll talk about it at break and stuff. So we take break, and we take lunch. And I'm like, where's your lunch? He's like, oh, my wife didn't make it. I said, so what, you don't know how to make a lunch? You know what I mean? It just was, this kid is just like absolutely ridiculous. I wish you would have known him because I'm dying for somebody to shit on this kid. So I'm going to have, and I know Sonny knows him.
Yep.
And I know Sonny, but I was kicking myself in the ass that I did not ask because he's got a lot of heat with a lot of wrestlers because just like that, because he's a big baby. That's
Right.
Chad. You're a big baby. Grow up. Man up. Seriously.
See? Shoot, brother, shoot.
Take your balls out of your wife's purse because that's where they are.
What a promo.
Yeah, he pissed me off.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Not too bad. I'm
too
not
bad.
even in the business.
Yeah, pretty good.
Maverick Wild.
Maverick is another like another dude that I've
Legend.
always awesome dude, extremely quirky.
Yeah,
extremely
yeah.
quirky. But like he was one of the people that gave me like one of my first sort of a break, so to speak, where I could network with a lot of people. He put me on he put me with Sonny all the time.
Yeah.
He booked me on all the shows, and
Is that front row?
front row, yes.
Yeah.
Front row. He put me with some quality guys there, and another person like that, took a liking to me and everything. I would use him on my shows. He's had some injury troubles and everything, know, and I guess he's out now, but you never know with him.
Right.
And you know what? He's fantastic work. Always a cool dude to me. So.
I always wondered how he could get around the ring with those shoes. That's a big thing about Sonny. It's just like clown shoes, his rest. You ever see his boots? You must have seen his boots.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. Maverick's awesome, though. What a great work. I must have seen Maverick wrestle 50, 60 times over the years. Always entertained. I remember I popped huge when I used to see him on Nitro. Him and Rick Fuller.
Oh, yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yep.
That shit was awesome.
Yep, exactly.
But, all right. Evan Six.
Evan Six.
Shoot.
As I said, we're doing the whole little thing in APW and everything. I don't really know him that much, but he's like a straight shooter basically,
Yes.
which is
Oh,
what
yeah.
I like. I enjoy
Correct.
it.
Yes, he is.
I enjoy that part about him and everything. He's always been very complimentary to me, which has been fantastic.
Yep.
Right.
But and he's doing like a good thing running that whole school there and everything.
Yep.
So
He's a great guy.
yeah, good dude.
We already talked about Brian Fury, so we'll skip over Brian. Brian's great. I love Brian.
Brian's one of my favorite people to wrestle
and
ever.
And like you said, he's really put out a lot of great young wrestlers
Yep,
around here.
fantastic.
Speaking of one of his great wrestlers that he's trained, this kid's blowing up all over the place. Flip Gordon.
Yep, Flip Gordon. I've wrestled him once.
Yep.
Had a really really good match with the Lucky Pro. Flip Gordon's one of those people I secretly hate because
He makes things look easy, huh?
because he makes things look.
does.
He has a good-looking kid.
Yeah.
Good body, has athletic ability up the yin yang.
Yeah.
Could maybe put a little bit more personality into
Yep,
what he
yep.
doesn't. But I mean, I at this point, I think the people eat him. I think they can eat him up a little bit more too.
Yeah.
Right.
But the people eat him up. He's come a long way. And athletic is he can do anything.
Yep.
Really.
It's funny because he's blowing up all over the place. I told you, I talked to Rob one time on Facebook, Feinstein.
Yep.
I was just trying to get the kid booked with Dreamer. I said, listen, man, you watch this kid. What's his name? I tell him, boom. Now you're looking at him. He's wrestling everywhere, man. He's down wrestling in Maryland. He's all over the place. And I even said one time that when he went down, he wrestled for CZW just recently. And I was like, Rob, I told you about this kid. You had a chance to get him before anybody else down there did.
He's a good kid too.
He seemed like a nice kid. When I met him a few times with my grandson, and he was really, really nice to him,
Definitely.
How about, all right, Setherin?
He's been actually very instrumental in the success of Liberty States Wrestling.
Nice.
He lives in the Peabody area, so he
Okay.
always brings a lot of people there. He helps me sell some tickets. He's been around a while.
Yeah.
He always does a good job on our shows, and he's always been cool to deal with, and he's been around for a while. Like I said, one of my first one of the only matches I refereed was him and Maverick Wild.
Right.
So. But yeah, he's been a tremendous help to Liberty States
I was
Wrestling.
watching him wrestle on Jeff's shows since 2003, 2004, 2002
Yep.
even, awesome. I really like Setherin a lot. How about another guy that's blowing up all over the place, Donovan Dijak?
I actually wrestled Dijak when
Really?
he was first starting out at Northeast Championship Wrestling in Norwood, Massachusetts. And it was a small ring, and I remember the ropes were very loose. And I remember I had him in the corner. I was working babyface.
Yeah.
He was working heel. And I went to go do that friggin' CM Punk knee gimmick in the corner where you step up on the bottom rope.
Oh, boy.
The bottom rope broke. So I ended up, or gave out or something, but I ended up kneeing Dijak right in the face. But but if anything, he didn't feel it. So I mean, I think that guy could take a lot. But
Yeah.
he's like I want to wrestle him again. For lack of a
Yes,
better term, I want to wrestle him again,
Definitely.
and I know we can have a 10 times better match now.
Yeah, he's blowing up big
He's
time.
fantastic. Like he will like I'll be able to tell my kids like that I wrestled him one time because he's gonna get.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you better
No,
believe
no,
it.
there's
You
no
better
doubt.
believe
He's
it.
gonna get signed. Like,
And I hate to say it, but I said it here before. When I first saw him wrestle, I didn't see it in him at first. Like I told, but
Mr.
when
Cena
I-
said the
when
same
I-
thing.
When I saw Eddie Edwards the very first time, he was just a kid. But honestly, you could tell right off the bat
Yep.
that if he didn't get hurt and he stuck with it, he was going to be something special.
Right.
And I didn't see it at first, but boy, was I wrong. Seriously. I mean, Dijak is blowing up all
Boy, he
over
put
the
his
place.
head down and he started
Yeah.
to listen, and
Yeah.
he's kicking ass.
What about his partner, Mikey Webb?
Mikey Webb's awesome.
Yeah,
I
he is.
remember I wrestled Mikey Webb one time, and I remember this is a testament to him. He first of all, he didn't cancel on me. He tore a calf muscle, which I don't know if you've ever even strained a calf muscle.
yeah.
It is
Oh.
extremely painful.
Yes.
But he tore his playing football, and he's like, no, I'm still going to come to your show. I was scheduled to wrestle him.
Wow.
It was one of my shows. So he comes, and we have a good match with him on one leg. And like that, I will always remember that. And I will always put him over to me. And he's always been cool to me, too. So like he's come a long way,
Goes
too.
to show you,
so.
true professional
Oh,
right
yeah,
there, too.
he can work, though. He really can.
Yep.
Him and the Dijak's got a good thing going in Lucky
Yeah, the
Pro
tag team,
Wrestling.
yeah.
And I'll
The
tell
tag
you,
team
man,
thing
they
they have
look
is
good in the
cool.
ring together. They do. The big man, the smaller guy.
Yep.
I mean, Mikey's not that small. I mean, in height,
Right,
maybe. but
height-wise.
He's jacked. How about one of my favorite guys, I don't know, some people don't like him. I've heard, Sonny actually, remember? Sonny put him down at first.
Oh, yeah.
Slick Wagner Brown.
Slick. Slick, I honestly I haven't seen a lot of him or had many interactions with him. He just recently wrestled Malonis at APW. So, like, he's always been cool to me. Like, obviously, like, he's one of the people that I want to wrestle, like, in the future.
Definitely.
And that may or may not happen in the future. We'll see,
Right.
everything from, a little insider information there. But,
Yep.
But yeah, he's been a stalwart. And, like, he's a phenomenal. Like, I was at ringside with his match with Malonis, and it was a fantastic match, fantastic dynamic, and he definitely knows how to work. That's for sure.
Definitely.
I'll tell you, I'm a huge fan of Slick. I have been since the first time I saw him. He's always treated my daughter really, really
Yep.
good. I love Slick. How about this? A new team in New England. Mark Sherman and Jimmy Preston. I'm sorry, but what a dynamic. You got Goofy Guy
Yep.
along with one of the most boastful guys
Oh,
I've
yeah.
ever seen in
Definitely.
a long time.
Definitely.
Well, Sherman. Where to start with Sherman?
Yep.
I think if you know, like, if you understand what kind of person Sherman is, you won't be that bothered by just his personality and
Yeah,
everything like
yep.
that. I've had some, like, I remember him like getting ticked off one time at a show. Like, I wrestled him and Scotty Slade in a tag match, and he got ticked off one time because I hit him too hard with something or like that and everything. But whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just him, and that's fine.
right,
you
right.
know. But like, and Preston was my champ, and look.
Oh.
Preston was my champ. I put the title on him, and he did not show up for about 7 or 8 months. And
What was he on, Tinder?
Probably. And you know what? Hey, look, he found his wife on
Yeah,
Tinder. Which
did
is
he really?
fantastic.
That's cool.
That's a shoot story.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Or at least I think it's a shoot
I'd love
story.
to get
Lord
him
knows.
and Sherman on here.
Yeah, but Preston, like, his promos are hilarious. They're funny.
Yeah.
Oh, they're awesome.
I think he takes. I hate to say this, but I think he takes indie wrestling like a little bit too seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think,
Yep.
he got so discouraged when he didn't go to the WWE tryout and everything, and he just quits.
Yep.
Or he
Too
didn't get
bad,
signed
'cause
for
he
WWE.
can work,
Yep.
man.
Yeah, he's a good.
Definitely.
Like, I think he's a good dude. I think he just like puts stock too much in like the wrong things. I guess the best way to describe
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And that whole like not showing up for 8 months when he was my champion, that kind of put a little sour.
Right.
Put a little sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
But overall, a good dude.
Yep.
Guy that I've only seen once wrestle, but I do like his gimmick, and I love the look. Tomahawk.
Tomahawk is
Seriously, I
I've
love
wrestled,
his look,
I've wrestled
man.
him a couple times. He's got a great look, good gimmick.
Yeah.
Like really like good dude. Well, again, one of Fury's kids that just stuck to it. And
You seen him, Derek?
He worked for APW, didn't he?
a couple times,
Yeah, a couple
I think
times.
So. Yeah.
Kid's good, man. Like I said, his look too is incredible. Really, for an Indian gimmick, unbelievable. How about Johnny Vegas?
Oh, Johnny Vegas. Johnny Vegas is one of my favorite people in wrestling.
He's actually
ever.
a fun guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Funny.
is.
One of my favorite
Yep.
people in wrestling ever. He's my current Liberty States Tag Team Champion partner.
Nice.
Cheap plug.
Yep.
But oh, dude, like this is a little known fact. But, like, I'm sure I'll kill his heel gimmick and everything like that. But he makes like the flyers to put on the chairs at a show. He always is willing to help. You know, like what an awesome dude and everything. I've had like some of the most fun. I remember quick Johnny Vegas story. One of the first times.
Here we go. Good.
One of the first times I ever wrestled with Johnny Vegas is like one of Costa's shows. Actually, he was in Plymouth. I wrestled Johnny Vegas. I was working babyface. He was working heel. I was blowing my comeback. I whip him in the corner and I called to him. First of all, I'm calling something to him. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I call back body drop to him, and he starts saying no. And he comes out, and I give him the back body drop, and he's like, you know what? Normally I don't like to take that, but you know what? For some reason I trusted you.
You did nice. Good.
It was really funny.
Good.
But oh, dude, one of my favorite people in wrestling ever.
Yep.
He's awesome. He worked for Jeff for a long time, too. And I'll tell you, man, he was the funniest guy when he came out.
Great gimmick.
We only got a couple minutes here, but I really want. How about you brought him up early, Christian Casanova? I think he's an incredible young kid, man.
Yep. He's our current Liberty States champion.
Kid's unreal.
He is one of the better baby faces out there.
Yeah.
The crowd just, oh my god. There are literally people that come, like, I'm on a lot of shows with him. There are literally people that come all over the place to see him wrestle, like on every single show.
He's ready to blow up. Seriously.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm actually wrestling him on the next Liberty States show full time.
Nice.
And like one of my favorite people to wrestle too. Like he just like do anything with him, he picked it up like that. Like athletic as hell.
Why don't you plug your next couple shows? See, we got a minute left.
Okay,
I want
well-
Derek to do this after before.
No worries.
This Saturday night, the APW Arena. This Saturday, September 17th. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but I will be at the APW Arena in Newbury, Massachusetts. AtlanticProWrestling.com. Find us on Facebook.
Excellent.
I will be wrestling Kick-Ass Kyle Storm, defending my APW New England Championship.
Whoa.
September 24th, I will be in Beverly for Elk Mania. It's like a one-off show every year that they have for the Beverly Salem Elks. I'll be wrestling TK Orion there. One of my favorite people in wrestling ever as well. And on October 8th, as I said before, Liberty States Wrestling in Peabody, Massachusetts. Come see me wrestle Christian Casanova for the Liberty States Championship.
Excellent.
I guarantee it's going to be an awesome show. The main event is going to be one of Brian Fury's last matches in Liberty States.
Wow.
It will be him, Sathorian, and Johnny Vegas in a triple threat match for the Liberty States No Limits Championship. Come on out. Come see us at libertystateswrestling.com. Liberty States Wrestling on Facebook. You find all the details.
Brother, thank you for coming out tonight, man.
Todd,
Really appreciate it.
Thank you very
Big
much.
time.
So glad to have
Thanks
you
for
on the
having me.
show.
Good to have him.
Absolutely.
Ready to do it?
Todd Sople. Listen, we're out. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.